Hey, welcome back to Love Wins, where the truth matters because it's the truth that sets us free. If you were diagnosed with cancer and you sought treatment or you didn't seek treatment, neither one of those choices would change the fact that you have cancer. Our issues around God and spirituality and church, they don't go away whether we choose to actively pursue joining a church or belong to a church or whether we avoid church. The relationship that God desires with us and the relationship we were designed to have with Him, it doesn't go away by sticking our head in the sand, by avoiding the issue, by not thinking about it, by pushing it. None of that changes anything. And the fact that you're here tells me that you are ready on some level to explore it, to deal with it, to figure out what's going on. As we're in this series on if you've left church, don't go back, ... The reason I'm telling you not to go back is not because I don't ever want you to join a church. It's because I don't want you to go back to the person you were when you left. You are a growing person. You're either growing towards God or you're growing away from God, but you're growing. And the fact that you're here tells me that you are either actively growing towards God or you're exploring the possibility of growing towards God. What has prevented you and what will continue to prevent you, not prevent in the sense of stop you, but prevent you in the sense of putting up roadblocks in your way, is that you live in a bunker. I live in a bunker. We all live in a bunker. Let me illustrate how true this is by something profound that Jesus said to his disciples at the end of his ministry. So he's been with them for over 3 years. They have traveled together, they've ate together, they've talked together, they've argued together, all kinds of life experiences together, including miracles and unbelievable things that they would never have imagined possible. So the trust level between them and Jesus is probably as high as any human relationship could be. Yet at the end of his time with them, he said, I have many things to tell you, but you're not able to bear them now. The now is critical because the now means at this moment. It doesn't mean you'll never be able to bear them. It just means you can't bear them now. One of the issues that we have as humans is that we speak on issues and we debate about issues and we focus on issues and we build walls around our issues and fortify our bunkers around issues that miss the point. If we were truly at peace with who we are, with what we believe, and with our standing before God and our relationship with Him, we would feel no need to build walls around ourselves. We would feel no need to bunker ourselves in against them. Here's a litmus test for whether or not you have serious bunker issues. If you feel the need to either have everyone around you agree with you or they can't be around you, you have serious bunker issues. And it doesn't even have to be on religious issues. When you need people to either see it your way or get lost, there's a profound insecurity in you. You're trying to defend yourself against the challenge of actually looking at what you believe and why you believe it and exploring that. So when Jesus said, I have many things to tell you, but you're not able to bear them now, it wasn't because they didn't have a relationship, because they certainly did. It wasn't because there wasn't trust there certainly was. The issue was Jesus knew there were some issues that were so sensitive to them and so foundational to the bunker they had built around their minds and hearts that if he had tried to address those issues at that point, it's likely that they would have receded into their bunker, locked the door, and it would have severed the relationship. You see, bunkers are unique in that people from the outside cannot get in. Only the people on the inside can choose to come out. And the disciples had come out of many of their previous ideas that they had inherited from their Jewish faith. But there was still a lot left. Let me illustrate to you from Jesus' life that he didn't have this need to have everyone agree with him or understand him or argue every point. In Acts chapter 1, when he was about to return to heaven, the disciples asked, "Are you going to set up your kingdom now?" Now, in their thinking, which they were raised with, their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents, on back to King David, they had been raised with this idea that there's a new king coming to replace David, to be greater than David and greater than Solomon. He's going to set up a kingdom on the earth, and the Jews are going to be awesome, and it's going to be wonderful. And that idea was deeply rooted in them. It was one of those ideas that if someone opposed it, they would retreat into their bunker and say, "I don't care what you say or what you think, that's how it is." When they asked Jesus the question, "Are you going to set up your kingdom now?" Jesus knew they were wrong. But he didn't even answer the question. He didn't even acknowledge the question. He simply told them, "You need to go to Jerusalem and wait." In other words, that's not a discussion we're going to have today because you're not ready for that discussion today. So you need to continue doing the next thing that I've given you to do. Because in our walking with Jesus, which is a biblical way of saying when God gives us something to do, we do it. When he tells us somewhere to go, we go. That active following of God is a process that tears down the walls around our mind and around our heart and opens us up to the things about him that are actually true. Jesus, in his own personal security about himself, he didn't need anyone to agree with him. If Jesus was insecure about what he believed and what was going to happen next, he would have had an argument with them that day. You need to understand this correctly. But he didn't. He didn't need to do that for his own self. And in his wisdom, he didn't do it with them because he knew today's not the day. They can't handle that today. I'm very aware every time I turn on the camera to film that people are going to be watching and hearing and listening. And I'm very aware that some people, all it's going to take for me to say is one thing that chinks away at the wall around their bunker, and they're going to shut me off and they're never going to listen to me again, and they're going to go listen to somebody else who will pat them on the proverbial back and reinforce what they already believe. If you're a person who does that, you might not have done it with me yet, but if you've done it with other people, that's a sign, it's a very clear sign that you are living in a bunker and you are intolerant of points of view that don't agree with you. And the reason you're intolerant is not because you're a bad person. It's because you're terrified. You're terrified of exploring what you really believe and where it really comes from and the implications of what will happen if you dare come out of your bunker. What I'm appealing to you today is that staying in your bunker won't change anything. It won't. The insecurities will stay insecure. The fears will remain. The doubts will remain. Nothing will change. And as terrifying as it may seem to explore outside your bunker, it's the only path that has any possibility of leading to freedom. And there's a lot of talk today about deconstruction and throwing away everything you believe and following your feelings. That's not what I'm talking about at all. We don't need people who follow their feelings. The world has enough of those people, and we can see what it's doing. What we need to do is to humbly come to God, especially through the lens of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because Jesus is the lived out person that God is. And by exploring who he is and taking up his invitation to follow him, he will wisely, gently, carefully take you to a better place, step by step by step. How do I know that? Because it's how he treated his own disciples. I have many things to tell you. And I really want to tell you them now, but I can't. I won't. I'm not going to do anything that you're not ready for. I'm not going to say anything that you can't handle. I'm not going to lead you anywhere that you're not ready to follow. I'm going to take you as fast as you can go and not a step faster. And to you, it may feel like a blurring rush. But to Jesus, it feels like less than a snail's pace. And he is willing to slow right down for you. I don't know how you see God. All I can tell you is if you dare to come out of your bunker and walk along the dusty Galilean trail with Jesus and his disciples and explore where they went and who they met and how they related to those people, you will find out how to relate to the issues of our day. You will find out how God feels about you. You will find out the plans God has for you. It will open doors that you've never thought possible. But you have to leave the bunker. At least open the door and peer outside. We'll see you next time.